Hi there, it's Miriam with you today. I'll just give everyone a few minutes to join as it's only just turned 7 p.m. Hope you're all having a great start to the week. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm actually live and everything's going well. Hopefully my tablets will work as well so that I can actually see some of your messages. Okay, still 7 o'clock, so I'll just give it a minute or so. Oh, my tablet's currently frozen, but hopefully it will pop back up. Okay, well, I'll crack on. It's 1 minute past now, and I'm going to try to keep this to 30 minutes. And today is part 1 of 2 lives I'm going to do. I've got another booked next week, and the aim is to create a background today that I'll then use to turn into my project next week. And I'm actually going to talk about masterboards. I use masterboards quite a bit, hence why I've got just a blank sheet of card in front of me. I use masterboards quite a bit, and I love cutting them up and using them for more than one project then. So there's a couple of ways we can do it, and I'm going to do something different tonight, or follow some of the methods I normally do, but I thought I'd show you a couple more. So these aren't finished, but this is one that I've just used with a stencil and some sprays, and this would be how I often start a masterboard. So nice simple design, and then I'll work on top of that, but I'll talk through some of my methodology as I go. And then this one I've still not finished, but I've done a bit more too. This time I've used distress inks, and you can see how I've layered them up, and I've used stencils. I've then gone in to start using some stamps, some markings, and some splatters as well. So lots of different ways, and you can see I've used different types of stencils as well. So there's that beautiful pennies in a line that's in Lisa's collection, and you can see these are from In the Loop stamp set as well. So that's just a couple of examples. So today I've got the wonderful sticky mat, which I absolutely adore. This is so good for me. Lisa's done really well in the design for this, but it's not moving at all, which means I can add my paint, or I could do what I like, and I don't need to worry about it. And I've also got a sheet of Lisa's super smooth cardstock, which is brilliant for paint, for ink, for pencil colouring, for alcohol ink colouring, whatever you want, but today I'm using paint. And I've just got my old trusty brayer in front of me as well, and I'm going to show you a little bit about what I do. I'm not expecting to finish this masterboard tonight, and I would normally take a bit more time over it, but I just wanted to give you an idea of some of the things you can do and how to use some of Lisa's products. And as I said, a week on Friday, I think it's the 20th, I'll be back to show you how I then turn what I create into a finished project. So I'm going to start off with some of my lighter colours actually. No, I'm going to go for a mid colour and just do bit by bit. I don't need to use much paint. The way I see it is that I can come in with more paint, but I can't take it off, and I want to add several different colours. So I'm just going to get a bit of an even one. This is actually my smallest brayer. I've got 3 different sizes of brayer, but I just tend to like my my small one. I'll move the camera over a bit just so you can see the paint as well. And I like to work just horizontally and vertically, and keep going till all the paint is gone. As I said, I can keep going in with more paint, but I can't take any away, and I want to just build up the layers as well, which is what you can see here. Okay, I think that's pretty much done. Have to apologise, I can't see any of the comments. But thank you for joining me. I can see I've got people watching, so welcome, and thank you for taking your time out on a rainy and dreary Monday. And if I can't answer anything, if the design team can't answer anything while this is live, I'll come back to you straight after. So I'm now going to switch to my next colour. Again, I'm just using just a small amount on the mat, and this mat is brilliant. I've used it with paints, I've used it with inks, and it's just clears quite nicely and goes in from there. So where do I want to start? Ooh. Actually, I'm thinking that's the colour I did last time, so let's swap it over. That's what I get for talking and crafting. I don't know about you guys, but easily distracted, that's all I'll say. Woo. So let's keep going. So I'm just rolling my paint out a bit on my mat. And you can see as I'm doing that, I'm hoping you can see anyway, let me move my camera over slightly. But as I'm doing it, you know, the mat isn't moving at all. If you haven't invested in one yet, and I think they're not available at the moment because they've been so popular, but do keep your eyes out and definitely get one. It's a really, really good mat. So as you can see, I'm just trying to get some of the areas that I didn't get last time, but I'm not stressing over it and not thinking about it. I'm literally just rolling the brayer as it comes. Now I'm going to move on to my lightest colour, and then I'll probably add just a tad of the dark colour into. So I've gone for pinks and purples. They just remind me, oh blimey, that's coming off a little bit. They remind me of springtime, and I know we're all really, really looking forward to some nice weather and just to feel a bit fresher and happier. So I thought instead of going to my usual blues and greens, I'd try something slightly more spring-like and happier for us tonight. I'm not worried about if anything goes on the back, because there's so little paint on there. It'll dry very quickly and it's not going to impact my finished masterboard either. Okay, I'm just going to go in slightly now with my darker colour, but I just want literally a touch of this, and you'll see why in just a moment. There we go, that's probably enough. Just want the tiniest amount just to add a bit more colour onto there. There we go. Again, I'm just going horizontally and vertically until it's all used up. Actually, I might just want a little tad more. That was probably too little even for me. Okay. So, as I said, brayers come in all different shapes and sizes. It's about finding the one that you prefer to use. And I've got 3 sizes. I've got a large speedball one, which I tend to use for my inks. I've got a medium one, and I've got this small one, which I tend to use for paints. And it's really about preference and what you want to use. Okay, so I'm almost there. And I've used opaque paints, and you can see that they all sit on top of each other and all give a nice coverage. And I've purposely left it, and I'll lift this up a little bit, I've purposely left lots of white patches as well, and I want that. I like to see a bit of white in my work, just because no matter what I do afterwards, and even though this time I do know what I'm going to do, often I haven't planned it, I might make quite a few masterboards, and it just gives me the ability to add a bit more colour if I need to. So that's that. So what do I do next? So now I tend to move on to stencils, and I've just picked a few of the stencils that Lisa has launched already. So here they are, and I'm just going to go in with a bit of paint and possibly even some inks actually, and just do little bits on here. So I'm going to go in probably with my darkest one first. Now you could use an ink tool, you can use whatever you like or however you normally would apply inks and paints, but I'm just using a bit of cut and dry foam just because I feel when I'm doing this, especially for a masterboard, it gives me a bit more control. And I'm not even thinking about where I do this, I'm just going to dab through. Even if I don't get the full circle, that's cool with me. I know a lot of people Even on the design team, like things quite precise, but I'm not that person, I'm afraid. I like it just quick as it comes, and just to give a bit more colour. I need a bit more there. You can see how stingy I am with my paints. I'm more than happy to add more, but I don't like huge dollops of paint and then having to waste it. It's nothing worse than that for me, and I'm sure you all agree. We all like to make our stash go as far as possible. Now, what I tend to do when I've used paints with my stencils, and I probably use paints more than inks if I'm honest, is I tend to give them a thorough wash afterwards, purely to protect them, especially if they've got smaller areas. So this one has got quite big circles. There's also the tiny little ones, and you wouldn't want the acrylic paint attaching to that and deforming it or not making it work as best it can. But because of the quality of Lisa's stencils, they're really great for mixed media. And as I said, I've used them with paint all the time. I use them with inks. I've used them with sprays. So, you know, I've really put them through a good thorough test. So I think that's probably a little bit by there as well. Probably about it for that one. And now I'm going to move across to another stencil. Which one shall I choose? Might choose Pennies in a Line. This one, my favourite, that was launched 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you saw Lisa on Horton Crafts, but that's a definite firm favourite. And I think I'm going to go in with a slightly different colour. I'm going to go in with a grey archival ink, I think. Just going to use the other end. Normally I'd separate them, but it's not going to affect what I'm doing. And again, this time exactly the same method. Actually, I could probably speed this up. As I said, normally I'm a lot slower with this, but I'm quite conscious I don't want to be rabbiting on and spending hours showing you what I'm doing. So I'll probably work on this a bit more once the live is finished and before the next one. So you can see there, I'll lift her up just a little bit more. It's just quite subtle, and that's what I want. It's about building the elements up. I don't need lots. I don't need it to overshadow the paint, because I've still got some stamping to go onto here, a lot of stamping to go onto here actually, as well as some more ink. So it'd be lovely for you to share any masterboard designs you've done using Lisa's products. Just link them to this page. It really would be great to see some of your makes and to get an insight into how you craft as well. Are you a messy crafter? Are you quite a clean crafter? Since I've had my new craft room, I've been quite a clean crafter. I try really hard to tidy up after every session I have. I try to keep my work surface clean, which is wonderful. And I went for as you could probably see, a black work surface, thinking it would be absolutely fab, but actually black shows up more dirt than any other work surface I've known. So if ever you're thinking of getting a black work surface, it's worth knowing that. Okay, so a bit more. I think I might even go in with a different colour as well. No, actually I'll leave the stamp in for the Dusty Concord as well. Okay, so I'll just show you what I've done. Hopefully you can see, but I'll lift it up. Dorno, sorry, I've just seen your comments. I've just used the Hickory Smoke black archival ink. I like archivals on these because they sit really well on top of the paint. I also like using VersaFine Clair quite a lot. They're really juicy and really good to stamp with. So that's what I tend to use when it comes to inks. And then if I was doing anything else, so I did show, I'll get this one out again. On this one I did use distress inks and layered those up. But obviously I'm quite conscious that distress inks aren't permanent, so when I started layering on top of it I had to be mindful of that. So I'll lift this one up and you can see some of the colouring and the depth I've got in there already. And I'm now going to, actually no, I'm going to go in with one more stencil, sorry. Oh, blimey, my stencils are stuck together a moment. I can't remember the name of this one. If one of the design team members can just say, I know it's been launched, but I can't quite remember the name of it. So if somebody can add that, that would be appreciative. Okay, thank you for all the lovely comments. Tracy, yes, you have seen part of my craft room and I'm really, really proud of it. I initially wanted just standard bookcases, etc., and just the norm of what people have, and it was actually my husband's idea that we went for something a bit more formal and a bit tidier and something I can actually close doors on and keep everything safe, and yeah, that's what we went for, and I have to say it was worth every penny. The budget was blown from what I'd initially planned with bookcases, but it really was worth every single penny to me. And what I'll try to do afterwards is take a photo of my paint drawer, which I adore. My husband, I think, is dismayed when he sees it, but I love paint. I use paint most of the time for my crafting, and my paint drawer it's just happy. It makes me happy to look at it. So I'll try to remember to take a photo. If I don't and you'd like to see it, please jog my memory. I've got so many things going on in my head that forgetting is no surprise to me. Oh yeah, I'm pleased I've added this. It's just given that bit more of a pop of colour to it, and you can see I'm not being precise. There's no need for me to be precise. There we go. Actually, do I want, I'm just going to put a tad more down here. Okay. And Dawn, you've asked why archival. It's just for, especially when I'm working on paint, the archival ink being permanent, it sits really well on top of the paint. It keeps its colour, and more importantly, if I add water, which I'm going to do, hopefully I'll be able to show it to you today before we finish, it doesn't impact the paint or the ink I've laid down. Whereas this one, so this one I added pen splatter. Today I'm going to use paint splatter, which will obviously have water in it. And if I'd added anything water based on here, it would have distorted some of the alcohol inks. So I just like using archival when I've got painted backgrounds and the like on there. So next thing to do is to move on to some stamping, and I've got some various stamps. I'm just, again, for me, I try not to think about it, so I'm going to use these three. So I've got my favourite VersaFine Claire, and actually Tracy Evans is watching the live, and it's Tracy that really turned me into using these. These are fabulous. They're really juicy, brilliant inks. And then I'm going to use Hickory Smoke and Dusty Concord as well. So I'm going to take all the lids off, and I'm just going to stamp away for a few minutes, trying not to think about it too much. So I'm going to start off with just some background stamping, and I'm not going to mount these onto an acrylic block. I don't need to, and actually I might even add some more painting as well. So let's do some painting ones first. So I'm just going to go in with my pale colour. That one's dry. Now, if you do add paint to stamps, you really do need to make sure you clean your stamps as soon as possible, because you really don't want the paint ruining them. And you know, no matter what you use, and whether it's small bits, whether it's big bits, you just don't want your stamps ruined. You know, they're tools, I know that, but I want to try. Oh, that one went in a light bit, so it wasn't too good. But I want to try to look after them for as long as I can, really. So I'm just going to keep going. With my lighting, I'm just going to try to capture some of the darker areas because it will show better. There we go. And then what I'll do, which probably won't be tonight, is to go around a lot of it with some with a white gel pen. So I've got Posca's my favourite. I also like the Stabilo white gel pens as well. A little bit there. Brilliant, so that's that. What I'm going to quickly do, which I'll apologise for, is just put just a wet wipe over there so that I can keep it moist until after the live. We're also going to go in with a bit of crackle, I think. And I'll do this in grey. That's my grey one. Yeah, just check the colours right. Again, I'm not inking the whole stamp. I'm not mounting the stamp. I'm literally just going to use it as it comes. Oh my goodness, look at that. I do like grey and purple. So have any of you been crafting today? If so, what have you been crafting, or have you been at work all day? I've got the week off this week, so I'm planning to do as much as I can really, and just relax and catch up and have some fun and what have you. Although the weather, I think, will influence a lot of that, so if it's bad, I'll definitely be indoors, I think. So again, you can see just random areas. I'm really not thinking about it. I'm just stamping away wherever I want to. Just a tiny bit more. Okay, ooh, put down there as well. Ooh, my stamp sticking to my project. Okay. Now I could do this literally all night and just sit and play, and actually at Christmas, well, long before Christmas, because obviously I don't know if any of you guys do, but I tend to start as early as possible. So by August I've got my Christmas box out and I'm starting to think about it really. Just because my job is so busy, I have to grab every moment I can in the craft room. So my husband was away with work it was August bank holiday actually. I remember coming up here with a glass of wine and just spending hours, obviously it was more than one glass by that point, spending hours just creating Christmas masterboards, and it was really quite satisfying. And then nearer Christmas, when it came to putting my cards together, I then started to cut them up and design them as I want. But when I actually made them, I didn't have any idea of what I wanted to do, so I just created the masterboards willy-nilly. Now for this one, so I'm using the Amazing in the loop stamp set, and you can see, I mean, mine are properly well used, but it's also a testament to just how good a quality these stamps are, and Lisa really cares about the quality and how much you can use the stamp in her products. And I've used paint on these. I've done all sorts with these, and you can see, yes, they are stained, but they stamp magnificently every single time. So I'm just going to use these, and I have mounted these purely because they're a bit smaller and I just wanted them to be able to get the full image. They're easy to handle this way. But you saw with the larger stamps, I just went for it really. So again, not thinking, I'm just going to stamp. I'm hoping you can't hear the rain outside because it keeps hitting my window and it's quite noisy out there. I'm just doing it randomly, not thinking whatsoever. Okay. And I'm going to keep doing this and going over them. I'm just looking at the time now. So I will carry on and I'll use lots of these, and I'll come back in and I'll use the black as well. but because of time I'm not going to do that now. I thought I'd be better off showing you how I do my splattering. So I'm just using a white paint for this. Now I'm taking a chance and I haven't got my trusty cardboard box out. I just thought it would be a bit messy during the live and a bit constraintive. So I put some white paint down and I'm giving it a really good douse of water. There we go. Now you could do this with just a normal paintbrush. You could do what you like. I've got my splatter brush out. Now when I first got this, I didn't think it was great. I thought it didn't work very well and this, that, the other. Couldn't understand why anyone wanted it, and then realised I was using it the wrong way. But now I know it. I love it. And I'm just going to add some splatters. So at this point I'm pleased that I've used the archival ink, purely because it's not damaging all of the layers beneath that. Okay. Oh, I can see it has gone all over my work surface. So I will be cleaning that in just a moment, that's for sure. There we go. But you can do this with pens. I know I often use my Poscas for it, which is brilliant. You can use it with any paint you want. It doesn't even have to be white. I just like adding white paint because it just gives it something else. So there we have it. I'm going to leave it here for tonight. As I said, I will keep on working on it and I'll also show you how it finishes next week before we cut everything up. But this is how I start my masterboards, and what will then happen is that this will be cut down next week. So Friday the 20th, 7 p.m. again, and this will form the basis of my the project I'm sharing with you next week. So if you have any questions, by all means pop in and ask, drop a message on the Lisa Horton Craft group. Don't forget as well, there's that fabulous competition going. So as soon as we hit 20,000 members, sorry, not 20,000, 2,000 members on Lisa's group, I'll be doing a draw to win the beautiful wreath that Elizabeth Hogarth has kindly donated to Lisa for the prize. So thank you for joining me. I really hope that you've enjoyed watching how I've created this. And as I said, I normally take a lot more time and there's still a lot to do to this before I'm ready for it to be used for the final project. But hopefully that's given you a good flavour, and make sure you pop in and show me how you create your masterboards and what you do with them. Thank you for joining me. Bye.